Okay. So, good day, Miss Liu. We're from Group 4. We're going to present about Nestle. Our group consists of myself, Ikon Firdaus, Muhammad Inshaf, Claudia, Teo Chong Seng, and Naveen. So I'm going to start off with the accounting standards, which is the first one is IAS presentation of financial statements. It established the overall standards for financial statement, such as how they should be written, the minimum content requirements, and overarching concepts such as going concern, accurate accounting, and the current and non-current distinction. According to the statement of financial status from Nestle, Nestle Berhad, annual report for the year 2020, the total asset of RM 2,861,371,000 are made up of non-current assets and current asset. Furthermore, the equity of RM 557,136,000 is made up of both equity and liabilities. Finally, the total liabilities of RM 2,304,235,000 comprise current and non-current obligations. So for the next IS, which is the second one, inventories, it standard specifies how to account for the majority of inventory types. The standard requires inventories to be valued at the lower of cost or net realizable value, which is NRV, and it specifies cost determination methods such as particular identification, first in, first out, which is FIFO, and weight average cost. The RM 597,270,000 cost of inventories is based on the statement of financial position for Nestle Berhad annual report for 2020, which includes raw and packaging materials, work in progress, finished items, and spare parts. So continuing is the ninth, which is employee benefits. It is covered by IAS 19, employee benefits, which covers short-term benefits, post-employment benefits, long-term benefits, and termination benefits. The standards establish the principle that the cost of providing employee benefits should be recognized in the period in which the benefit is earned by employee rather than when it's paid or payable. And it lays out how each type of employee benefit should be measured with special attention to post. It lays out how each type of employee benefit should be measured with special attention to post-employment benefits. According to the statement of financial position from Nestle's Berhad's annual report for the year 2020, the RM 9,059,200 in employee benefits is comprised of net defined benefits liability and total employee benefits liabilities. The overall of cost of wages, salaries, and employee benefit is RM 607,675,000, which includes payments to the employees' provident fund, defined benefits plan charges, and share-based payment expenses. So next is, I'm going to pass it to the next presenter. Thank you.
Hi Miss, good evening. I'm Naveen here. Today I'm going to talk about IAS 38. So IAS 38 is a standard. IAS 38 is actually intangible asset. So IAS 38 will help us to calculate the book value of an intangible asset using the cost model. So basically, in the annual report, in the year 2020, on the 30th of June, according to the note 6, the total cost of intangible assets was 68,883, and the book value was calculated by deducting the accumulated amortization from the cost of intangible assets. And the total of accumulated amortization was 4,383 at the end of the financial year 2020. So I will pass to the next person. Thank you.
So authorized share capital is the maximum amount of capital that a company can issue to stakeholders as agreed in its Article of Association. In financial year 2020, the company total issued share capital and paid up capital is 267,500,000 and the number of shares is 234,500,000. The company allotted class of share which is RM1 each of ordinary shares in the company to eligible executive or eligible employee. Next. Director remuneration refers to how directors of a company are compensated by a company for their service, usually fees, salary, use of company property, or other benefits. The packages are first approved by the shareholders and the board of directors. However, referring to the diagram, it shows that in the company, the total director remuneration amount is 11,268,000, consists of total executive director remuneration 9,906,000 and total non-executive director remuneration 1,380,000. Next. Substantial shareholders mean in the relation to a company a person who entitled to exercise or control the exercise of 10% or more of voting power at any general meeting of the company. However, the diagram shows that the number of shares held by Société des Produits Nestle SA is 170,276,563 with 72.613%, whereas Citigroup Nominance Employee Provident Fund Board held 18,770,500 of shares with 8.004%. The remaining shares of 19.383% are held by other shareholders. That's all from my part, and now I'll pass it to Chong Seng.
And I would like to present the horizontal analysis income statement. The graph is showing the horizontal analysis income statement is showing is increasing or decreasing the amount. And there is a percentage inside. The revenue is showing the percentage is negative 1.92%. Cost of goods sold is showing 0.06%. And the gross profit is showing negative 5.21%. Other income is showing negative 100%. Selling and distribution expenses is showing 3.13%. Administrative expenses is showing 9.77%. Other expenses showing 219.56%. Reversal of impairment loss and on trade receivable showing negative at 3.99%. Result from operating activity is showing negative 7.10%. Finance income showing negative 3.39%. Finance cost showing negative 12.78%. Net finance cost showing negative 13.71%. Share profit of an equity account associate net of tax is showing negative 4.91%. Profit before tax showing negative 17.24%. Income tax expenses showing negative 15.16%. Net profit is showing negative 17.86%. And the revenue of Nestle, based on the income statement shown above using the horizontal analysis, the revenue of Nestle Malaysia Berhad has a negative percentage in the income statement of 1.92%. This is because the revenue of the company has decreased from 5.518 billion in the year 2019 to 5.412 billion in the year 2020. Based on the note acting from the annual report of Nestle Malaysia Berhad in the year 2020, the graph below shows the revenue from contact with customers have decreased from 5.518 billion in the year 2019 to 5.412 billion in the year 2020. And based on the income statement showable using the horizontal analysis, the profit before tax of Nestle Malaysia Berhad has a negative percentage in the income statement of 17.24%. This is because the profit before tax of the company has decreased from 875 million in the year 2019 to 724 million in the year 2020. Based on the note 19 from the annual report of Nestle Malaysia Berhad in the year 2020, the profit before tax in the year 2020 will be lower than in the year 2019. This is because the following items have been included in arriving at profit before tax. This is because the following items have been included in arriving at before tax, indicating that all expenses in the year 2020 are more than in the year 2019. For example, the employee benefit expenses has increased from 574 million in the year 2019 to 607 million in the year 2020. The income tax expenses of Nestle Malaysia Berhad has a negative percentage in the income statement of 15.16%. This is because the income tax expenses of the company have decreased from 202 billion to 2 billion point 2 in the year 2019 to 1.72 billion in the year 2020. Based on the note 22 from the annual report of Nestle Malaysia Berhad in the year 2020, is due to the Malaysian income tax and deferred tax. The current year of the Malaysian income tax have decreased to 1.82 billion, as well as the relating to reversal of temporary difference of deferred tax has dropped to 2 million in the year 2020. It can be seen that the income tax expenses in 2020 is less than in 2019. According to the income statement shown above using horizontal analysis, the percentage of the cost of sale of Nestle Malaysia Berhad in the income statement is positive 0.06%. This is because the company cost of sale had increased from 34.44 billion in 2019 to 34.46 billion in 2020. According to the 2020 annual report of Nestle Malaysia Berhad, the cost of sales amount is an increase of 211,700 ringgit in sales in 2020 compared with 2019. And the last, net profit based on the income statement shown above using the horizontal analysis, the net profit of Nestle Malaysia Berhad has a negative percentage in the income statement of 17.86%. This is because the net profit of the company has decreased from 6.72 billion in the year 2019 to 5.52 billion in the year 2020. Based on the annual report of Nestle Malaysia Berhad in the year 2020, the amount of net profit in the year 2020 has decreased 1.2 billion compared to the year 2019. And I would like to pass it to the next presenter. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mohammed Inshaf, and I'm continuing with horizontal analysis for financial position. Horizontal analysis of financial statement involve a comparison of a financial ratio, a benchmark, or a line item over a number of accounting periods. The method of analysis is also known as a trend analysis. Horizontal analysis allows the assessment of relative change in different items over the time. It also indicates the behavior of revenue, expenses, asset liability, and other line item of financial statement over the course of time. Accounting period can be 2 or more than 2 periods. Accounting period can be a month, a quarter, or a year. It will depend on the analyst's discretion when choosing an appropriate number of accounting period. During the investment appraisal, the number of accounting period for analysis is based on the time horizon under consideration. The comparison we can divide by 2. That means absolute comparison and percentage comparison. For absolute comparison, one way of performing horizontal analysis is comparing the absolute currency amount of the sum of items over the period of time. For example, a cash in hand at the end of the accounting period can be compared to other accounting period. This method is helpful in identifying the items which are changing the most. Percentage comparison. In the second method of horizontal analysis, percentage differences in certain items are compared over the period of time. The absolute currency amount are converted into the percentage for the purpose of comparison. The method is useful when comparing performance of two companies of different scale and size. Referring to financial statements shown based on the horizontal analysis, the property, plant, and equipment assets has increased from 1.2 billion in 2019 to 1.4 billion in 2020. The increase of 145 million, resulting in the positive percentage of 11.42. And next we go to intangible asset. The intangible asset of the group have decreased from 65 million in 2019 to 64.5 thousand million in 2020. This decrease have 1.2 million has shown in the negative percentage of 2. The rise in above figure is most likely attributable to an increase in intangible asset, which resulting in higher amortization charge through the financial year. For the cash and bank balance had a change of negative 10% from year 2019 to 2020, when the balance changed from 10 billion to 9.359 billion. According to the group and company annual report, COVID-19 have a negative impact on their cash in the bank. The carrying amount of the statement of financial position show the greatest exposure to credit risk at the conclusion of the reporting period. Referring to horizontal analysis, the total payable in year 2019 was 1.3 billion and subsequently increased to 1.4 billion in 2020. There is an increase of the total payables amount of 159 million. The increase of 159 million has showed a positive percentage of 12.065 from year 2019 to 2020. Last, we go to the different tax asset. There was increase of different tax asset from year 2019 to year 2020. To specify, the increase was from 34 million to 36 million. The differences is 1.7 million, which equated to 0.05% of change. Next, I pass to next presenter.
So lastly, for the conclusion, Nestle Berhad in Malaysia is surrounded by a fortress-like moat. Unless they lose their halal certification, which is highly unlikely, it is a trustworthy brand. They also sell a wide variety of food items such as dairy, coffee, and ice cream. Their products can be found in almost every city and village in Malaysia. This demonstrates the scope of their distribution channels. Nestle Malaysia Berhad is surrounded by a fortress-like I'm gonna pass it to the next presenter now. Thank you.
So in a nutshell, I would say that it's not worth to invest because in addition to the COVID-19 expenses nets by the profit by 14.9% on the year to 54.8 million when off items were excluded. So the employees' safety and pandemic relief activities will total up to 75 million, and 2.3% of its sales will be generated to the outside of United States in 2020. So as in the 2020, the dividend per share fell down to 2 ringgit from 2 ringgit 80 cents to 2 ringgit 32 cents. According to the CEO, e-commerce channel revenue climbed up to 26% on the year of 2020 as a result to the lockdown. In 2020, its revenue contributed is expected to remain at 4% compared to all 3% in 2019. So that's all I would say. Thank you.
And that's all for today's presentation. Thank you so much.